in this little town at the end of a long dirt road, very little medical care there, and it was really a great time in many ways. But at one point, my son got a cough. Turned out it was whooping cough. I didn't really know exactly what it was at the time, but it turned out it was whooping cough. And he just kept coughing and coughing, and I was praying, and nothing was happening. And we'd gone to the doctor, and the medication wasn't helping. And so one day, in my prayer time, I just got a little upset with God on this on this situation. I said, "Look, God, here we are. You've called us to the end of this road. We said yes. It's exposed our kids to all kinds of stuff we don't even know, and disease, and there's really not great medical care. And so we need you to do your part. I mean, I've done my part. I need God. Could you just please do your part? I really need you to take care of this thing with my son. He needs healing." And I felt that day, and I said it with a lot more passion and emotion than I just did. I was really, in fact, I was really kind of upset with God. I was not kind of, I was. And I felt like God spoke to me, not in like a physical voice, but in my thoughts. And I felt like God said, "Well, you haven't been obedient to me. This is the problem." And I thought, what have I not obeyed? And immediately the verses in the 5th chapter of James popped in my head. If anyone's sick, let him call the elders of the church and pray for him. And I thought, God, are you kidding me? I mean, I know the guys who are the leaders of this little church that we attended, this little dirt floor church in this town. I know these guys. I'm the missionary. Really? And God just said, I believe, just obey me. So okay, so that day I went to the pastor. I said I would like to request for, in this case it was the deacons, that I think was the more or less the elders. I said I would like for the deacons and you to pray for my son, anoint him with oil, and pray in the name of the Lord. Well, they'd never done that before, but he said, "Okay, we'll do that." He says, "Bring him Sunday night." I said, "Okay." In the meantime, we'd seen the doctor, our doctor there in the little town, and she had told us, "This medication is doing no good. Let's just take him off the medication." And we were like, "Okay." So we took him off the medication. But Sunday night, there was our son. I don't know how old he was, probably 2, 3 years old, asleep in the back of the church. And when the service was over, the pastor got up with his little thing of oil. The deacons got up. I got up to walk over with them, and I felt like God said, "You're not an elder in this church, sit down." And so I sat down. And these guys prayed for my son. They prayed all kinds of things for my son, but they prayed that he would be healed. And within a week, he was healed. This so encouraged this little church and the pastor and the deacons that when the next missionary came and their son got sick, they just showed up and said, we know that you'd want us to come, so we just came." And I'll never forget the missionaries telling us, "We've never been in a place like that where they came to us to minister to us in this way." After everybody was gone, this pastor had a woman show up who was trying to deliver a baby. It was breech, and this lady was in his living room in his house, and he didn't know what to do with her, and he got mad at God and said, "God, you took our missionary away. If we'd had our missionary, he has a car. He could have driven this lady to the big city where there's a hospital that could have taken care of this. And why did you take our missionary away?" And he felt like God said to him, "I'm still here. I'm still here." And so at that, he gathered the pastors together. By this time, the child was already dead. But they prayed, and miraculously, this woman was able to deliver this child, even though it had already passed away. But he told me later, he says, this was an important time for me because I realized I was trusting in missionaries and I should have been trusting in God all along. Well, anyway, back to my son being healed. Within a short time of that, we went back to the States. We had our third daughter, Angela, who was just a few months old at the time of this whole thing with our son. She started coughing. We were at a church back in Oklahoma. We took her into a doctor somebody recommended, who was this adult MK guy originally from Argentina. His parents had served in Argentina. He'd grown up there. He took x-rays of her lungs and said, she's got whooping cough, and I look at these x-rays. I believe they called it multiple infiltrates in the lower lobes. She's a sick baby. And that night, with that on my mind, I went to Wednesday night prayer meeting, and the pastor of the church where we were staying preached on this passage in James about calling the elders and praying for them, praying for the sick. And so I went up, I said, I'm so glad you preached on this, because, and I told him about my son and what had happened, and I said, now our daughter's sick, and would you gather the elders and have them come and anoint her with oil and pray? And his response was, well, I'm new here. I'm not sure they do that. He says, let me talk to the deacons and I'll get back to you. So I said, okay. Well, I didn't hear anything from him. Sunday came around. Sunday night, I tracked him down. I said, have you had a chance to talk to the deacons? He says, not yet, not yet. I went home that night. Ruth was home with the kids. And I said, Ruth, they're not gonna do this. This is his nice Oklahoma way of saying no. That night, we're both kind of depressed. We put the kids down. We just turn on the TV, and here's this Christian TV thing on. And there was this guy on. It was that Trinity Broadcasting thing where it was kind of like a Christian Tonight Show, except with big hair and gilded chairs. And so they have this guy, and he gets up and they do this little thing where he'd preach this little sermon. And anyway, he was preaching his sermon, and I had no idea who this guy was. It turned out later it was Benny Hinn, and I really don't know much about Benny Hinn. I've not followed Benny Hinn. At that point, I had no idea who he was or anything about him. But he did this thing. Look, if somebody's sick, I want you to put your hand on the TV. And I felt like God said, do it. And I'm thinking, that's crazy. That is absolutely nuts. I've never done that before. Actually, I've never done it since, which, spoiler alert, I guess. But that night, I was sitting there struggling with that, and Ruth, my wife, turned to me and said, do you think we ought to bring Angela in here and put our hands on the TV and put our hands on her? And I said, yeah, I think we should. So we brought Angela in. She was asleep, this little baby, and we put our hands on the TV and we put our hands on her and prayed that night. The next day we had an appointment, went back to the doctor. The doctor said, okay, this is just a week has passed by, basically, or less than. He said, he listened to her lungs, said, I want to do x-rays again because there's something different here. He did x-rays. He came out after the x-rays had been developed and said, I have no explanation for this, but her lungs are completely okay. They are completely well. Now, since that, I've done a lot of, as this has influenced the way I read the Bible, obviously, and I look at some of these miracles that Jesus did, and some of them are really kind of bizarre. Spitting in the dirt, making mud, putting it on people's eyes, stuff like that. I've never done this again where I put my hands on the TV. Never done it since, but I never felt like God told me to do it. And I also think it's sad that this church didn't have the opportunity to see that happen. But that probably is the most verifiable miracle that I've ever experienced in my life. I wish I still had the x-rays. But God is able to do amazing things. And again, I think it comes back, one of the reasons that he doesn't do as much in America, one of the reasons I think is just our worldview. We have such a scientific worldview that unless people are healed through doctors and hospitals, we tend to mistrust it. Anyway, I think if we're open, we have not because we ask not. But that scripture goes on and says, but we can ask amiss. So we need to learn to pray and learn to pray rightly and follow his leadership. And I think God will do amazing things sometimes if we just ask him.